Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another youth-centered podcast. I'm going to do something a little bit different this week. I am not going to have a guest. I am basically going to go solo on this due to popular demand on an issue and a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So, for the last number of years, we have received many calls and emails about the evolution of the Summer Fun program. How did it start? What was it? What was it originally intended to do? How did it grow? Most importantly, what is this summer fun culture and how did it become a way of life in North Andover? So today our podcast is entitled, appropriately, Summer Fun, The Untold Story. And hopefully when I'm done here tonight, you'll get an idea of actually how this has really grown over the last 28 years. To understand where we are today, you have to go back to before we even started Summer Fun. Playground programs in the state of Massachusetts were pretty similar in the decades of the 50s, 60s, and 70s and the early 80s, where basically due to families living in neighborhoods and maybe not having the transportation or maybe the financial position to basically go on vacation all the time, we had basically neighborhood playgrounds, and that happened in North Andover, and it also happened in the community that I lived in Winthrop, Mass, where that was my first high school job, just like these summer fun kids today. So during my summers of my late high school and first year of college, I worked in a playground program very similar to what North Andover had done. As I worked in that program, I just thought that certain things were missing around the kids being really pumped to come and the counselors being passionate. And, what I saw in my own community was, kids were kind of, backing out of going to the playground program. And I think a lot of it also had to do with you had such an age disparity. So you have little 3 and 4 year olds being with middle school kids, and that just at the end of the day didn't really work. So when I started here in 1988, I saw Bill McAvoy's playground program, and it was very similar to the playground program I worked in. So from 1988 to 1990, I kind of observed it and did my own version of some other summer programs to this day that still run, like the Joe Walsh Summer League and some of our Boys and Girls Weeks, etc. In about 1990, I approached Bill McAvoy and basically said, Bill, I think we can do better. I think we can offer a playground program that kids would really want to participate in. And that meant, going away from the neighborhood playground program and going to more, a site in town where all kids could come from all of the town. And, he didn't really love the idea. He obviously had been doing this, for 30, 40 years and felt it was working. So basically, he wished me well in starting this program. And I did in 1990. We started our first summer fun program at the Atkinson School. And people wonder, like, why was the Atkinson School the site? Well, quite frankly, the Atkinson School was the site in 1990 because it was one of the few sites in town that didn't have a playground program. There was Drummond, there was Grogan's, there was Reynolds, and obviously Applin and some of the other playgrounds in town. So Atkinson was just where nobody else was, so it was a good place for us to start. And we started out originally with 50 kids, and our concept was we had to start somewhere, so we randomly picked the grades of 2, 3, and 4 that could participate in this program. And it was really successful. We brought kids from all over town, and parents really kind of liked it, and the kids loved it. And we had done a lot of work with who we were going to pick as the counselors. And to this day, I can still remember the first councils we had in that year. We had about 5 counselors with the 50 kids. And then at the end of the year, there was a demand like, where are you going to do next year? You need to get more kids here. There's a need for it. And it was a little bit touchy for a couple of years working with our program along with Bill McAvoy's playground program was still going on. So after a few years and the popularity growing and growing, Bill did come to me. He was starting to wind down his career in North Andover, and he basically said, I think you got something happening here, and maybe I'm going to step away from my program, and you can kind of take this concept a little bit to the level you want to take it at. And about the same time Bill was retiring, the town was taking a look at what to do with Bill's program, and it was natural that we would assimilate those programs that Bill was running, like the Saturday morning basketball and the children's shows and the Sunday night concerts and the playground programs under our department. So ironically, that's when we went from being North Andover Youth Services Department to the North Andover Youth and Recreation Services. And from there, we had a huge boom with summer fun. So every year, the numbers were going up. We had 100 kids, 200 kids, to the point where we were then saying, we can't have all of these kids at one site. So we took a look at going into 2 sites, and at that time, we expanded the grades. So we made a decision to have grades 1 and 2, and again, completed 1 and 2 at Atkinson School, and then completed grades 3, 4, and 5 at Drummond Park / the Youth Center. Again, that was prior to the Youth Center building actually being built, but we did a number of years there, and then the question came up, is there's a need to go younger? And the funny part is we were having a lot of parents saying their kid had finished first grade when they really hadn't. They had only finished kindergarten. So we actually met the need by basically making Atkinson the site for anybody that's finished grades K, 1, and 2. And at Drummond, we did finishing grades 3, 4, and 5. At the same time, I felt that we needed to offer something at the middle school. I know middle school kids don't necessarily think that they're should be able to go to a playground program, that they're a little bit older that now. But we started a program which has been a big hit, and that's the Sports and Rec program, which is an offshoot of summer fun, very different, a little more sports related, recreational related. And that has been running at Reynolds Playground for the last almost 15 years now. And the numbers have been very good there. They're not the numbers we have at Summer Fun, but just this year we're excited to reach our goal of having 100 middle school kids at the Sports and Rec program. So as the program began to roll and get bigger, we started to take a look at, seriously, we have to find ways to meet all the needs of these kids, financially and everything else. And we basically have done a really nice job of making this an affordable program for people. It is amazing. The price we charge is very cheap compared to what you'd pay for a similar type program. And it's pretty funny when we hear parents say, like, my kids would much rather go to summer fun than such and such camp, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper. So we've done a really good job of really making that happen. And we continue to do a really good job of making sure this is affordable to all kids. And I'm very proud to say, and we'll talk a little bit later about the ways that we've actually made this very affordable to different people. So we basically decided that this could also be a great summer employment opportunity for North Andover kids. And what has grown from those original 5 staff members has grown to the point between all of our sites and our summer programs, we hire close to 100 kids a year for our summer programs, in particular the summer fun and sports and rec and the basketball leagues, and a variety of the other one-week programs that we actually run. And what's been really exciting is that how many kids want to work for our program, and it has evolved to the point right now that this year's staff, over 90% of the staff this year were actually summer fun and sports and rec kids themselves when they were younger. So it's been a nice kind of gradual where everybody is participating in the program now, participated as a kid, and that's pretty cool. And we obviously every day, all the summer fun kids that come up can tell me that they're going to work for me someday and that they're going to be a summer fun counselor just like these people here. The selection process is very difficult. We purposely advertise the jobs the day after Christmas, and we have a deadline of the second week of February. We actually want to see who really does want to work for us during the summer. And then during the months of March, April, and early May, our staff spends an enormous amount of time selecting what we think will be the best staff. We have a great policy of trying to mix returning staff members with new staff members. So every year, about 40% of our staff is brand new staff. And it's great because if we had a turnover every year, it would be almost difficult to do this job in terms of, kids knowing how we run things or whatever. And the mentorship that has gone on with our older staff and our younger staff is incredible. And I'm really excited about this year's staff. We've got some great returning people, and we have some outstanding new people. It is an extremely transparent process. We are very interested in having our staff look and be like the kids that come to summer fun. So we have to make serious decisions around how many females, how many males, how many athletes, how many non-athletes, how many people interested in the arts, and how many people bring a different skill set, maybe belaying to rock climb. We like high school staff members, not too young. Most of our staff are juniors or seniors in high school. With our college kids, who are usually, they're freshman or sophomore year in college. So it's been a great process, and we make 3 different announcements in the course of the spring of people getting the jobs. And again, there are many kids that don't get a job, and we do our best the next year to maybe try to get those kids again. There's a question on the application which basically says, have you applied here before? So in perfect world, I'd love to hire every kid that applied, but the popularity of the program, and you have maybe 40 jobs available, there's close to 200 kids that apply for that. So we've had an incredible process that we do in hiring the kids, and I think we do it very transparent. I think it's wide open in how we do it, and I'm very excited every year that the staff that we bring in. We then put together leadership teams, and this is something we've been doing now for almost 2 decades. And it's very important for us to have a site coordinator and a couple of site assistant coordinators. So every year we usually have some turnover in that. I've been very fortunate to have a couple of site coordinators that have been longtime staff members with us. At Drummond this year, Madeline McCoy has been the longtime site director there. She's a school teacher. Nicole Sharp, the site coordinator at Sargent this year, is a school teacher also. So it brings a little bit of an adult supervision piece to the whole thing. And then our assistant coordinators are usually grown up in our staff and are usually college age kids. And I'm really excited about this year. We made a couple of transfers and we moved in a couple of people, and we're really excited about our assistant coordinators. So the coordinators and the assistant coordinators are involved with planning things, pre-start date, all the way to, at the end of the season, they're in charge of coordinating with all of the staff and all the different things we do. So I think the biggest key is to have strong leadership, and obviously my full-time staff people, in particular Demi Tetro, that are actually involved with the program on a daily basis. But it is amazing to see the great leadership groups that we have had over the last few years. One of my biggest goals early on was this to be an all-inclusive summer program, and it has really come full cycle on this. When I was a counselor in Winthrop, I actually worked in the special ed department of the playground program, and quite frankly, it was segregated. I worked with a number of kids, Down syndrome kids, and others, disabilities, and they were kind of had their own playground. And I remember in the early 80s saying, that's really not what I would do. So one of my biggest pushes right away was to have an all-inclusive program, and we have done an amazing job with that. We established almost 2 decades ago a buddy system where some of our more talented staff were trained to actually be buddies for kids that maybe had some needs that needed to be met. And that has grown and grown, and it's been really great. We've had a number of our counselors go on to fields and special education from this. And then it culminated last year with a great meeting with the school department, and Special Ed Director Donna Strait and I sat down and architected the first special ed component to the Summer Fun program. And last year we piloted it with about 15 kids, and we're doing year 2 this year. And it's to bring this opportunity to other kids that might have some special needs. And NAPS, North Andover Public Schools, provides staff to support our program and our staff So it's just been an amazing program in terms of including all, and can't talk enough about the collaboration between our community and our school system on this, and I just think this has so much room to grow. And as I said, every year our numbers have increased, and the activities we've done, and this is what I always said when I was doing my own evaluation, and what I would do if I was running a playground program is, the old days of making pot handles and maybe playing basketball, that doesn't take place anymore. We have a wonderful arts and crafts component to the program, and we still play basketball. But we create games. Our staff is empowered to create different aspects of games that with twists, and the kids have been involved with creating some of the programs, and it's just been pretty amazing to see the growth in exciting programs. To see the kids go to stations every day is pretty impressive. They blow the whistle, they explain what the stations are, and then you see the kids scatter off to the different stations, which is pretty exciting. So one of the major things is, how does this work? Why does it work? Is basically the staff that we hire. And I spent some time obviously telling you how difficult it is to pick the staff. And I think we spend a lot of time picking the right staff. But once we pick the staff, we got to train them. So over the years, we had what I would consider minor training, a couple hours, 2-3 hours, explaining what the job entails, some of the pitfalls you might come across. And we've created in the last number of years now an extensive full-day training. Last year we actually had an overnight. This year it was actually an 11-hour training. We started at 10 in the morning, and we basically finished up at 9 o'clock at night. And every kid is told right from the beginning that they have the opportunity to change kids' lives over the next 6 weeks. We show examples of that. And then we train them in a variety of different things. Obviously we start off with some icebreakers and some team initiatives, because our staff has to know who they are and each other, and they're going to be working very closely with each other. So we have a lot of fun with that activities. We have actually training committee, and this year three wonderful staff members. Gigi Castellanos, Asia Valdez, and Taylor Landers were involved with actually putting a lot of those team buildings and icebreaker activities together. And then from there, we do a number of different trainings around what to expect with the job. We have the North Andover Fire Department come in and do a training on an overview of first aid. Many of our kids are first aid and CPR certified, but our friends at the fire department come in and basically go over any potential situation that we might have. North Andover Public Schools brings an entire team in to basically talk about the special ed component and strategies on how they would handle the kids that are coming from NAPS, but also how to deal with all kids that may be having some difficulties there. We also this year had an exercise where every staff member pledged, and what their pledge was to make this a great summer for the kids. And it's pretty awesome. All the pledge cards are hanging in our lobby in the youth center for the next 7 weeks to remind them as well as people what we're pledging to do this summer. We have a number of different activities that get kids out of their comfort zone and actually be able to kind of laugh at themselves a little bit. And then we fed the kids all day, which was great. Can't thank enough Joseph N. Herman Youth Center, who provided a grant for this, and obviously the great Terry Holland and Stachy's Pizza, who fed and hydrated our kids. It was a 95-degree day. But then we have a couple of things that I think really echo home how important this is. And the first is we have a thing called Summer Fun Past, and that's where we invite a former Summer Fun kid, a former Summer Fun employee who's no longer working for us, as well as a parent or parents to come in and talk about the impact that my counselors will have on their kids. And this year we had a present 6th grader who was nervous as all heck, and he did a phenomenal job telling my staff how important they are and what they did from him. He actually chronicled his whole life from Summer Fun 1st grade all the way up to him graduating Summer Fun last year and his excitement for heading to sports and rec this year. And then we had longtime staff member John Boudreau, who was a Summer Fun kid right from the 1st grade. He's a junior up at Syracuse right now, and he's He's entering the work field with a great internship this summer. And he basically implored my staff to take this seriously and enjoy every minute, because he was jealous of them that they got to do what he'd been doing the last few years, and really wishes he could actually be here again this summer. And then we had two fabulous parents, the Bees, that came in and talked about their own personal story with their daughter at Summer Fun, and really echoed home to the kids from a parent's perspective how important their work really is. And then the rest of the evening, we have what we call a bunch of touchy-feely activities where we really get kids to come out of their comfort zone and take a stand on topics, and and basically debate each other on different things and how we're going to work together all summer, even though we have many, many differences. And then we finish with a candlelight ceremony, which is our wristlet ceremony. And every year our staff wears a wristlet with the theme on it. This year it's hashtag every kid counts. So anytime you see a counselor this year, they'll be wearing a fluorescent green wristlet which says hashtag every kid counts, and that will be obviously our theme this year, and we'll have a whole new theme next year. And then the night ends with them getting their equipment, which consists of t-shirts and a whistle and a lanyard, and thanks to TD Bank North, we got ponchos for those rainy days. And then we're ready to get the season started, and that's what started last Monday. The culture that we do, I think, is very powerful. I think it's something that not everybody does, and we implore to the kids that they have a great opportunity here to change kids' lives, like I said earlier. So one of the criteria is you have to be passionate. You have to be basically willing to do whatever it takes for kids to be happy. Remember, first day at Summer Fun, we get some nervous kids. We get kids that may not want to come back the second day. And we put it on our staff to not lose one kid during the summer. And it's amazing how the guys and the girls really jump at that. We make the kids feel really special. This year we started something in our staff training where we brought welcoming cards. So I think you saw some great pictures of it. Our kids spread out over the 4 acres of the youth center and did welcoming cards for every kid coming to Summer Fun. Just a little note saying it's going to be the best summer ever, happy you're here, and some pretty powerful stuff on that. We talk to them about their integrity and character. To be this job, you have to have integrity, you have to have high character. We hold everyone to high standards because we are working with kids. We try to make every day, their 4 hours, the best for these kids, and we have wonderful texts and emails and phone calls from parents basically saying that my young staff, unproven in the field of working with kids, has actually made their life and their kids' lives very special for 4 hours a day. The bonding that takes place during the summer is amazing. When it's 95 degrees like it was all last week, and my staff is doing nothing but smiling and running around, tells you what type of kids we have on that whole situation. The last day is probably something that tells our culture more than anything. We have a dance party, we have a cookout, it's a great time, and then we have a thing called the gauntlet, where every kid runs through the gauntlet, and every staff member makes that kid feel like $1,000,000. And then on the last day, each kid is walked to their car with multiple staff members hugging them, holding them, and I can't tell you how many times I see my staff crying, I see parents crying, and obviously I see kids crying. And then you really know that we've had a really good summer, that we've really done make a difference, and that we did change kids' lives this summer. And then after that, my staff has their final staff meeting, and we have a thing called the closing ceremony, or some call it the burial ceremony, where we actually bury our wristlets, and we bury our memories. We write some things down, and we basically wrap up a wonderful year on this, and then we start planning for next year already. So if you ask me what really makes this program work, it's definitely the culture we've built and the amazing kids we have working for us. So people say to me, what do you like to see in the future of Summer Fun? Well, I've not changed since 1988. I'm always trying to find ways to make it better. I don't think we rest on our laurels here. We're always trying to meet the needs of the community. So I would like us to see to grow to 4 sites. I think we're getting so big right now that I think that it would be best, just even from a pickup drop-off perspective, that we actually split it up a little bit more. And this would be tough for a parent that maybe has 4 kids at 4 different sites. By the way, at this point, we have a number of parents that have 3 kids at 3 different sites. But I'd like to see the kindergartens and the first graders together, the second and third graders together. The fourth and fifth graders will always be up here at Drummond, and then the sixth, seventh, and eighth graders at Reynolds Playground. I would like to see a home site of a school for sports and rec. For all 14 years, 15 years now, they have been running at Reynolds Playground, which is a great playground, great soccer field, but they have a porta potty for a bathroom. They don't have a gym. They have a broken down basketball court, which we're hopefully going to be fixing. So I'd like to maybe see them at a school site where they can have it. It does cause us a little bit of stress on some of the thunder lightning days, and just last Friday we'll show you a great example of how well my staff puts safety first in getting kids. And that's obviously the site I'm concerned about, because the rest of the sites all can come into the youth center or to come into the sergeant school. I'd like to see a CIT program. It's something we started early on when we didn't really have much staff. A counselor and training program, not a big one, but I would like to take a look at, maybe having some young staff that are not in a paid position that can learn the ropes and then maybe work themselves into a counselor's position. At the end of the year, I would like to go back, and kind of ironic, I want to go back to the old playground, North Andover playground, where on the last day, all of the sites, all the playgrounds came together for like a field day. And I envisioned that, maybe, and we'd have to maybe do it at a huge site, like maybe the high school, but bring all of our camps of all the ages together for one day to just really have a fun day with music and games and older kids and younger kids. I think it would be great. I do want to increase the North Andover Public School special ed program. I think that's got a lot of room for growth, and Donna and I will continue to work on that and expanding that in the next few years. I'd like to get back to 7 weeks. We moved up to 7 weeks last year. Unfortunately, with all the bad weather this year, school got out late, so we had to keep it at 6 weeks. I thought going to 7 weeks last year was great for my staff, for the kids, and for parents, so I'd like to get back to there. Sports and rec, we always struggle getting enough girls, more girls, and that continues to be a challenge for us. And we've got some ideas. We're excited. We have 5 girls at sports and rec this year, and hopefully we can continue to work at that. I want to do a better job of making the program more affordable to all. It's amazing how well we do. Like with a lot of things, like with our youth center membership here, no child is ever turned away with the inability to pay. We find ways to make it work. We have donors, we have sponsors, we work with people on sliding fee scales. It's amazing what we do. So I don't want any kid to ever think that they can't come to this program, even though it's the best price around. Some people can't afford it. So we will continue to work vigilantly on that, and I'm excited about that. I also would like to have a youth day. I want one day just like that field day where all of our summer programs, our summer fun, sports and rec, does one day of community service in North Andover, all on the same day. How great would that be if all of our kids got out and did something, maybe helping with our senior citizens, maybe cutting grass, maybe picking up the playgrounds, maybe doing something within town. So that's a vision of mine, to really include everybody in doing a community service project. As you know, here at the Youth Center, community service is unbelievably huge for us. Cannot speak enough about the importance of it, and why not start with even our youngest kids, having them do a little community service and giving back to this town that does so much for them. So what's the legacy of summer fun? As I wind down my career in the next number of years, I think that summer fun has been a huge impact on this community. I think we have taken the old school playground program idea and brought it into the 21st century. It's amazing to me how many former staff that I've had. Over 2,000 kids have worked in summer fun over the last 28 years. We have had kids that have come back and said, quite frankly, I'm doing this now and I'm doing very well successfully, but the favorite job I ever had in my life was working for Summer Fun. We've had those kids come back and talk to some of our youngest staff to really run home the whole value of this job and how really this is a great job. It is amazing. Just in the last 3 weeks, I have had 3 different groups of people tell me that at a wedding and at a bachelor party, that when the toasts come around or the little stories is always talk about summer fun and the summer they had working at the youth center and doing all these great things. And when you hear stories like that, you can definitely tell that you've had an impact on these kids. I'd like to help other communities adapt some of the things that we're doing, and we have tried to do that, and I think we've done successfully. My own new home of Methuen, which I've lived the last 20 years, I really wish that they would do some of the things that we are doing here, because no, we're not reinventing the wheel here, but we get some pretty creative things. I think it's the growth every year. When you start out with a program that 50 kids started out, and this year, between all 3 sites, we will have over 700 kids attend our program. That in itself is a huge legacy. I think the inclusion of the special ed program. So going back to the early 80s when I worked as a special ed summer counselor, and sitting there one day and say that's not right, that it's kind of segregated. I think seeing what we're doing right now is just phenomenal, and I think that inclusion it's been amazing. The other thing for me, when you've been here as long as I have been, has been you now see the second generation. So, when former kids of mine now have their kids going to summer fun and talking about it, and I've had some of my former kids have some of their own children now be summer fun counselors. It's pretty impressive that we have grown, it has lasted, it has thrived, and just some stuff on the legacy that I think just is very special. We would not be able to do this without a lot of people involved. I think myself and Demi and others are the visionaries of this program, but we would be remiss if we didn't thank a lot of people. And the first of all is to thank the town of North Andover, who basically allowed me to bring this concept and embraced it, and has supported me and the program for the last 30 years. The Joseph N. Herman Youth Center, Inc. continues to be a huge support of the summer programs, whether it being helping us with some grant money. Their most recent thing is obviously helping us put on the staff training. They have also been instrumental at their annual auction of raising scholarship money, not just for memberships, but maybe scholarships for summer fun. Could not do it without with them. We've had a number of people in town that have basically said, I want to adopt a kid to summer fun. I'm in a position that maybe, besides paying for my child, I can pay for one more child. And most of these people like to be kept anonymous, but I would be remiss if I did not thank them. Terry Holland and Stachys. Terry Holland is a legend in this town for how much he gives. He is very responsible for a lot of stuff with the staff training. He does all the food for the staff cookouts. He does amazing things with our programs in the summer, other programs such as having the kids down and make their own pizzas. So I'd be crazy if I didn't thank him a million times. To Demi, my right-hand person, my assistant director, I don't think people understand how much work goes into the organization before we start day one. The amount of work and the paperwork and the emails and coordinating with my young staff, and could not do it. Demi is amazing. To the 2000 former Summer Fun staff, for those who keep in touch with me, for those I haven't heard from, I hope you're all doing well. It's been an amazing run, and Summer Fun owes you all a great debt. And then to some of our town departments, Chief McCarthy with the North Andover Fire Department has been hands-on with us with training for many years now. Chief Chuck Gray in the North Andover Police Department has been very supportive. Community policing was at Summer Fun the first day. NAPD is helpful with some of our traffic issues we have in the early part of the summer. And then my North Andover Department of Public Works, which just is amazing, keeping our fields up and helping us with every issue that we have come up, whether it's at Summer Fun or at Stevens Pond. So again, thank you to all of those people that helped made this an amazing run that we've had in 28 years. I do believe summer fun is here to stay. I'm open to other suggestions. We do get some comments from people who basically give us suggestions, like I think you might want to look at this. And again, we look at everything, and I'm open to all those different things. But lastly, I'd like to thank all of the parents who have entrusted their kids to us for these last 28 years. I think we've done a good job. We couldn't have done it without you guys and being patient with us, and especially when sometimes you get stuck in a pickup line for a little bit longer than you'd like to. But this is a pretty amazing thing we have going on here in North Andover, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we do running it. At the end of the summer, we are exhausted, and I think that tells you how good a job we're doing when we basically shut down the last 2 weeks of August and get ready for the school year. And there's a lot of emotion when it's all said and done with our kids who go back to college or go back in high school, but it's true every year. We try to make it the best summer ever, and I'm hoping this year it is the best summer ever. So I hope this kind of tells you a little bit of the untold history of summer fun. I probably missed out a few things, but it's been a great run, and we can hope to continue to do this. And thank you, North Andover. And as we finish with every podcast, we always say, too much passion is not enough passion.